Or did people tribalize immediately and, start trying to kill each other in the street and start burning everything down? I'm trying to remember. Is that what happens when people just don't have anything to do and they get up in the morning and there's nowhere to go? Well, jobs are fake and they're just not even necessary. Okay, so then what are people going to do? Tell me what people are going to do. If the maximum goal, by the way, making life about only efficiency destroys it. Destroys it. The most efficient way to do something is that if someone is bothering you, if your spouse is bothering you, the most efficient way to deal with that is to kill them. It's to kill them. If your wife is bothering you, the most efficient way to deal with that is to bludgeon her with an item on your mantle. That's the most efficient way to deal with it because immediately the argument is over if your wife is dead. Now, you might go to jail, but there's no argument anymore. So you've efficiently eliminated, in the moment, you've officially eliminated what's bothering you. And the most efficient way to end the argument is to bludgeon your wife with something on your mantle.
The great Tim Dillon is doing it again. This just dropped. It is excellent. Just like everything, it's a long podcast. A little over an hour, but this is a crucial point in it that is very funny, very informative, and again, it's a different take than he's opening our eyes, or at least my eyes, to a different viewpoint, a different topic, or just seeing things in a different way. And that's what we love about him. That's what we like about him. And he's one of the best at it. So take a listen to this. We'll dissect a little bit in the end.
And now the argument is over. Does that open up a Pandora's box of other problems? Most likely. The most efficient way to have an orgasm is just to masturbate, to jerk.
In case you missed it too, he's referencing this to AI. I don't know if that made it clear to you guys from the onset. But he's essentially saying that AI is, these people are touting the efficiency of it. And everyone was getting booed at all these speeches at universities, espousing AI prominence. And, this is now Tim's point that he's making on that efficiency point.
Jerk off. It's not the most pleasurable way, but it's the most efficient way. You just wake up, you jerk off, you're done. The most efficient way to make money is to steal. It's to steal something someone else has. If someone has something you like, you physically threaten them, or when they walk out of the room, you grab their wallet and run out of the house. That is the most efficient way to earn money. It's efficient. Now you say to me, well, but then they're going to notice, you'll lose a friend, they'll call the cops. Yeah, but we're using the AI example. We're not supposed to talk about the implications of any of this. We're talking about raw efficiency because that's good. Why talk about the social cost of any of this? We're talking about raw efficiency. What makes the most sense in the moment? What gets you there the fastest? Well, if you jerk off all the time, you're just lonely and you get addicted to porn. Efficiency. We're not talking about the social questions, the moral questions, the ethical questions. We're talking about what gets it done in the moment. And if what gets it done in the moment is the most efficient thing, we drain the meaning out of life. The meaning of life is struggle and hardship and challenge and getting through it and building the skill set that you need to do so, and then having real victories. Toni Morrison wrote a great book called Paradise, which many of you are too stupid to read. And it just is what it is. It's not my fault. It's the education system. It was hard even for me to read, to be honest. I don't think I finished it. It doesn't matter. The point is, in the first two chapters, there's a preacher who's giving a great speech about a 2-year-old's life. And basically saying the 2-year-old experienced a lot of the challenges that you did, like a 3-year-old who died, and their life doesn't have less value than yours. It's a wild speech. It's actually really good, and it's brilliant. Whether you get anything out of that or not, he was basically saying that, that life, very short, had challenges baked into it, problems, moments of joy. You got to read the speech. I'm not doing it justice. Obviously, it's Toni Morrison, but the idea that you can just make life about efficiency and that you can drain all of the joy out of being knocked down and getting back up. The idea that you can just make everything about, you make it cold. We're doing it. We're seeing what it is. You make it cold. You make it corporate. You make it sterile. You make it antiseptic. You ruin it. You drain from it that which matters. You take from it that which makes you human and makes this whole thing worth doing. This is not just to maximize efficiency and increase intergenerational pools of capital. It's not just to modernize our technology to the point where it destroys our soul. That can't be the point. The point is love and family and art and community. The point is culture. The point is kindness. The point cannot simply be the maximizing of efficiency. That takes all the meaning out of it. So here again, to speak on that, David Solomon, I said it was David Cohn. That's another guy. I apologize. David Solomon, AKA, this is Goldman Sachs, David Solomon. It does say he's the CEO. Maybe he's the CEO now or he's a past CEO. I don't care. But this is AKA DJ D Soul. So this is the CEO of Goldman Sachs, otherwise known as DJ D Soul. We live in hell. Take it away. Wharton commencement.
We live in an age of self-driving cars, reusable rockets, and an app called Suno, which some of you might be familiar with. It's an AI app that helps you produce music instantaneously. As I was preparing for this, I gave it a prompt, and here's what I said. Hey Suno, I'm at Wharton's graduation, and I'd like you to make an anthem for the MBA class of 2026. Let's create an upbeat house song, approximately 120 beats a minute, that talks about why Wharton's grads should be optimistic about what's in front of them in the years ahead, and how today is the best day in the history of the world to be in their shoes, and tomorrow will be better. Here's what Suno came up with. That comes with 2 more verses and 3 more choruses. It's not out publicly yet. That took 10 seconds to create.
Okay, so these people, they're older, they're so wealthy, they just don't care what happens. They find it interesting because it is interesting. By the way, if you have the luxury of just talking about like where AI is going and or, hey, are we all going to leave the planet? That is interesting for sure. It's fun. It's a great topic for a dinner. But if you are needing to earn money to live, or you are concerned about your privacy, or you're concerned about AI targeting schools in Iran and blowing up children who are sitting there at their desks, which is evil. If you're concerned about AI choosing the wrong target and blowing up children who are sitting there with pencils in their hands, if you're concerned about any of that, hey, by the way, listen to this song that AI made. Isn't this cool? It made a song. Why don't you play that song for the children in that Iranian school who burned alive? How about that? Maybe they would have liked that song when you had Palantir and all these companies, these AI targeting, because now it's widely believed that AI is being used to target things in war zones and it's making mistakes. So why don't you play them that song? I'm sure they'd like to hear it. Oh, you can't, they're dead. So if you have any of these concerns, you're dismissed immediately as a loser, as a Luddite, as a crank, as someone who hates technology, as someone who can't keep up. But make no mistake, they're coming for your privacy, they're coming for your security, they are coming for your money, they're coming for your property, they're coming for your life. They're coming for your freedom. They're going to take all of those things and they're digitizing every single thing on the planet. They're going to have your money supply. They're going to have it all. They're going to control what you can spend, when you can spend it, how you can spend it, where you can travel. It is the plan. It's not a conspiracy. They kind of come out and say it. Eventually, they'll control where you live, and they'll control whether they think you're going to be a criminal or not with their predictive models of antisocial behavior. This is all in the works. It's not some type of conspiracy. And if you're concerned about that and you believe that there should be legislation introduced to make these companies accountable, and the immediate response will be, well, China. Well, China's going to do it if we don't. China's going to do it if we don't. So, by the way, get on board. We got to fight China in an AI war, and we got to enslave everyone before they do. Because if they enslave everybody with AI, they'll be able to use AI to shut off our nukes and to compromise our military security. And we're in a Cold War with China involving AI. It's what all these chips are about. And if you have a concern about your own security, privacy, autonomy, your bodily autonomy, all these people that were, and I think rightly, skeptical of this COVID vaccine and the mandating of vaccines are going to be all in on AI in terms of how that works with your bodily autonomy. All of these people that were like, Bill Gates is using the vaccine to put a chip in you, they'll sign up for Elon Musk's Neuralink chip because it'll let him say the N-word. So that's really what, I mean, so you have to start, I think, and I'm proud of these younger people who stand there and boo these people. They stand there and boo these people. And I want to shout out a woman who I think a lot of people don't really, a woman who protested this, who died to protest artificial intelligence. A woman in New York City recently stepped out of her car and threw herself in a manhole to protest artificial intelligence. She was a heroic grandmother. And she decided, after getting out of her car, RIP to this woman, she decided to throw herself in a manhole and essentially cook herself like a lobster in a pot. It's not a great way to go. She did that to protest artificial intelligence. This was an incredibly strong, like, remember that guy lit himself on fire to protest the Gaza stuff? This woman decided to throw herself down a manhole in the middle of Midtown Manhattan to protest artificial intelligence and what it means for our freedom and what it means for our culture. And this woman did it. She threw herself down a manhole. And to me, it is one of those cases that I find to be amazing because the level of sacrifice obviously is complete, total and complete sacrifice, but it was to bring attention to this problem. People are going, it's a freak accident or whatever. People will always dismiss these things, truly. People will always dismiss the sacrifice of others when it comes at a social cost. She decided, I'm going to throw myself down a manhole to protest the use of artificial intelligence. And this is kind of lesser known, she felt that I was getting railroaded by this designer. $115,000 for that costume. She didn't want to live in a world where I would be abused in such a manner by someone who I've only said nice things about. So she decided, bravely, to throw herself down a manhole in Midtown Manhattan in order to protest not only artificial intelligence, but she also was protesting that I'm being railroaded by a costume designer. It's extortion. She was also protesting Spotify not giving me a deal. She was very concerned, meaning I have one of the top performing podcasts in the world. It's like number 12 on Spotify, literally. And she was confused as to why I wasn't being given a overall deal with Spotify. And she chose, again, bravely, selflessly, to throw herself down a manhole in the middle of Midtown Manhattan. R.I.P. to her. I mean, it's weird to thank someone for this, but I do think her sacrifice should wake people up at Spotify who are making costumes and who are in the AI space. Because it isn't wrong to ask for a conversation about AI. It's not wrong to ask for a conversation. It's not wrong to ask for regulation, to ask for accountability, to ask for transparency. These are not wrong. You'd want this from the financial industry. You don't get it, but it'd be nice. You want it from the military industrial complex. You want it from all of these things, by the way. You want it from the people that teach your kids at school. You want it from NGOs that are privately funded, that are pushing things you may or may not agree with. You want it from our elections. You want to know who's spending millions and millions of dollars to elect candidates in states like Kentucky. You want all of those things. You want it, and you should be granted an audience, meaning you should be able to have a conversation with people about AI. You should not be dictated to. You're citizens of the country. You live here. You vote. You pay taxes. You know? But too much of this administration has felt like you are passengers on a plane. There's not a curtain that separates first class from coach. It's a steel door. And every now and then they make an announcement to the coach cabin and go, Ed Gallery's a war hero. He almost shook my hand. He almost broke my hand. And as you're eating your peanuts and you're drinking your stale water, you go, yeah, Ed Gallery. And then the CEO from Goldman Sachs, DJ D Soul, gets on the ones and twos and he makes an announcement and he goes, and AI's coming. Listen to this song that AI made. And you're bopping around to the AI song and you're eating your peanuts and they go, Ed Gallery has a handshake. He's a war hero. And then they go, what about this AI song? What about this AI song? And you're just sitting in coach and you're pressing the button. You're pressing the button and you're going, how do I just want some more water. These peanuts they're creating a paste in the back of my throat and I can't even breathe. And you're pressing the button. Then all of a sudden, a ghostly old flight attendant comes up to you and it's Marjorie Taylor Greene. And she goes, I live in Costa Rica now. I've escaped. Do you think you can escape? Yeah, play this a little bit. This is what you'll hear. This is what you hear as you're sitting on the plane with the peanut grout in your throat, pressing water. I just want to drink water. Ed Gallery has a handshake. War hero. Navy SEAL.
Ed Gallery is the guy that beat Thomas Massey, by the way.
You don't need money. You don't need life. Stop eating lunch. Stop eating lunch. AI is good. Ed Gallery has a handshake. He's a Navy SEAL. Epstein is fake. Stop eating lunch. Ed Gallery has a handshake. He's a Navy SEAL. Close the files. Stop eating lunch. Make a sandwich. Make a sandwich. You don't have a life. Make a sandwich. Make a sandwich. You don't have a wife. Jerk your dick and sit on the floor. This is what we've done this for. You don't own shit anymore. You don't have a life. Good night from London.
Man, I just really want to know one day if
Ladies and
if he actually writes this stuff down, or some of it has to be. I mean, he's got it's so good. You know, obviously he's spitballing for a great deal of it, but yeah. So this episode was, he talked about Massey in the beginning, and then there was the Trump had this ad or whatever that he played for against Massey, and the only thing that he said about the candidate that was opposing Massey was when he said he came out of central casting, which is a really odd thing to say because that's exactly what happened. He has a really strong handshake, and he's an ex-Navy SEAL. That was literally the entire commercial. And that guy beat one of the most popular senators that I've come across in a long time. So that apparatus seems to be broken, or maybe it's working perfectly for, everybody that it's working for. But yeah, on the AI front, it's something that was so apparent. It hit such a chord with me, and that's why I wanted to get this out there and play it. When Tim talked about, just the struggle, the strife, the failures when it comes to everything. It's all about overcoming adversity in many different levels. When you're young, like one of my little guys, it's your favorite toy broke or whatever. And as you get older, things get more expensive or more dire. And you push through it and you overcome it as well as you can. Sometimes you don't overcome it. Sometimes that's the new normal and you live with it. And that's how it is. And in this strive for efficiency, which is, I guess, ultimately what AI essentially is. If you think about it, at its root, I'm guessing that if humans were given enough time, that they would be able to achieve the levels of things that AI could do. But that's not what we're facing now. What we are facing now is, I guess it's a different being, it's a different entity that is going to accomplish things for us, maybe to us, that would take us many lifetimes to achieve. And that might be very good and very beneficial for many things, healthcare. It might, increase productivity for many things to the point where, maybe we won't need as much capital as we needed before to obtain many things. But then the question becomes a sense of purpose, a sense of belonging, a sense of struggle. Why? And I think many people, I don't think most people, and this is where the problem lies, I think many people will be able to create that themselves. For example, I'll just speak for myself. When I retire, which will be relatively soon, I envision myself setting up a homestead and working probably harder than I'm working right now, physically. Animals, tending to many different projects, maybe building some things. And I can envision myself much like someone who takes himself and goes to the gym every single day, or many times a week. You create a sense of purpose in something that you don't necessarily have to do. Anyone that goes to the gym doesn't have to go to the gym. They choose to go to the gym. And they're choosing to do that not because it's easy, because the point of it is that it's difficult. The point of it is it's a chore. It is a burden. It is something that they must overcome. And there is some reward on the back end. You feel better. You look better. But on the whole, I don't know if we as a society have put that into maybe our youth, or I don't know exactly what the right term is. We haven't put that on a high enough pedestal to say this is really important. It is really important to have something that you want to do that is not easy, but that you can do consistently with purpose. And I think that's what we're facing now. People are going to need that. A very, all these menial tasks, and everyone's saying that, working at McDonald's or whatever it is, that's still a thing. It's a job. It's something that you go to, you accomplish. It provides you and your family with the means to sustain themselves. I don't know where the vast majority of people are going to find themselves once and if that gets taken away from them. It's going to be a very interesting time. Nobody knows where it's going. And all I would say to people is just try to. Well, one of the things I always ask people when I meet them, and I meet a ton of people, I always ask them what their hobbies are. And I think that's like a gateway into a person. What are your hobbies? What do you like to do? When no one's around, what do you like to do if you're completely by yourself? You have anything you could possibly want. What would you like to do? Like I've gone through many renditions of like very fixated, focused in hobbies. I did music for many. I still do music. I sang for many years, play piano, do stuff like that. I went through a really strong woodworking phase. I got all the tools. I got everything. Love doing that. There have been phases in my life where I have just focused in on many different things, and they've become my hobby. And now those things are a part of me now. Like I can always go back to it and tinker and play around and do stuff like that. And I think if you have that, if you're the type of person that, even if you just have one thing in particular, but you need something that when it's all quiet, nobody's around, it's like curling up and reading a book. You can retreat to that place and it satisfies you in that way, in the way where maybe it's a little bit difficult, maybe it's a little bit challenging. Maybe you try to get better and better each time you do it. We all need that. And I would just say that if that's not something that you have yet, think about it. Try to acquire something that gives you that sense of meaning and purpose and is not tied to your work. Yeah, and see how that does. Guys, if you're still here, I should have said this about 20 minutes ago, but like, follow, share, subscribe is the most important thing, actually. And yeah, Tim Dillon is fantastic, like I always say. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm John Sottle. See you in the next video, guys. Take care.